What could cause an excess in a single year of 10 million deaths? Now, clearly a big war could, and a pandemic.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
We must continue to fight against the global pandemic.
The good news is that by making the right decisions now, we can save lives.
Stay at home.
Stay at home.
Moderna announcing its vaccine is nearly 95% effective.
The vaccine has nothing at all to do with modifying your DNA.
The eventual end comes when we get a vaccine that protects all of us, not just in the U.S. and the entire world.
Traveling through history, it is a known fact that the Industrial Revolution was a period in time where industrial jobs were beginning to claim dominance over the workforce, starting in England and eventually spreading over to America. Deficient in regulations, oversight in the basic knowledge of some diseases and its spread, the lower-class citizens and factory workers at this time lived in squalor. As a result of neglected water sources, diseases were spreading from person to person. The situation was ripe for a widespread infection. Cholera, typhus and typhoid was a real problem in the 19th century England, which had claimed the lives of about 15,000 people alone. Cities were built around factories and houses were stacked on each other, making space at that time extremely limited. Without toilets, the cities chose to toss human excrements casually into the streets, inevitably causing a spill of toxic wastes. But it wasn't just the British public that were suffering. Across Europe, cities like Paris were also being marred by the deadly disease. It lasted 6 months and claimed 20,000 lives.
Can you imagine what it must have been like?
Tenements were the breeding grounds for smallpox, and the disease spread like wildfire in the packed industrial apartment complexes. In 1796, English physician and scientist, Edward Jenner purposefully infected an 8-year-old James Phipps with cowpox in order to test the process of vaccination. Jenner was scientifically testing and proving that infection with the mild disease of cowpox gave immunity to the more dangerous smallpox disease. This was considered a dangerous process, thus the need to prevent smallpox became desirable. Jenner's process was a medical revolution, hence the development of vaccination.
First, when we're talking about a vaccine, we're talking about an inoculation. I want you to understand what that means. We're dealing with an inoculation. We're talking about the introduction of microbes into the subject, the introduction of germs into the subject, or a virus into the subject.
When introduced into the body, vaccines are expected to stimulate the immune system to recognize the agent as a threat, destroy it, and keep a record of it so that the immune system can more easily recognize and destroy any of these microorganisms it encounters in the future.
Vaccines have never worked with the description that they gave us scientifically. They always knew what they were doing. It was always a lie.
Vaccines didn't stop childhood diseases. Plumbers did. And that what his point was, is sanitation and nutrition.
And then we say, oh, the vaccine. No. It's the clean water. If you never brought the vaccines and you had clean water, those people would have been fine. From the very history of it, it never worked. The number one person that it was tested on died shortly after. And they didn't tell us the rest of the story. They said he was fine.
So why do we go down memory lane? We need to understand where we've come, the mistakes we've made, so that we don't repeat them in the future. It's quite evident, just looking at smallpox. Number one, the smallpox vaccine didn't work. Number two, mandating the smallpox vaccine had terrible results. And number three, if everything we know about vaccines was based on the first vaccine, which was for smallpox, and we know going through history it didn't work, that really poses the question, do any of them work? Are any of them safe and effective.
In modern times, advances in molecular biology and genetics have led to the development of more sophisticated vaccines, such as recombinant vaccines and mRNA, messenger ribonucleic acid. The rapid development of mRNA vaccines for COVID-19, including those by Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna, is of great concern.
Previously, the fastest vaccine ever developed took more than 4 years of hard work. But Dr. Sahin, who founded BioNTech with his wife, made a rough design over 1 weekend. And this rough design received FDA authorization just months later. Moderna's vaccine also took just 2 days to design, as Business Insider previously reported.
When you are told it's a vaccine, it's all a deception. So, let's look into some details. The mRNA vaccine that is injected into people takes a little computer simulation of mRNA, sends it into the body, and the body becomes a biological weapon factory. It manufactures spike proteins. The injection doesn't stimulate any immunity. The mRNA vaccine could better be regarded as a gene editing software. Research shows that the mRNA vaccine introduces a platform into the body that enables the editing of the human DNA.
There is a technology known as CRISPR. The full meaning, the full writing is clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. That is CRISPR. C-R-I-S-P-R. It is used for editing DNA. So if anybody tells you DNA cannot be edited, ask them, do you know anything called CRISPR?
Researchers have identified thousands of genes that affect our risk of disease. To understand how genes work, researchers need ways to control them. Changing genes in living cells is not easy. But recently, a new method has been developed that promises to dramatically improve our ability to edit the DNA of any species, including humans.
So when you are vaccinated, it's not about the COVID-19. It's not about it. It's not about vaccination as it were. No, it's the introduction of a software. Let them deny this. I told you this before. It's on their website. This is from the CDC's website. Understanding mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. Now they come here and they tell you something. mRNA vaccines do not use the live virus that causes COVID-19. Then it says they do not affect or interact with our DNA in any way. Okay, let me tell you what it does. It makes your DNA editable. What are we saying? They're telling you that your DNA will not be affected. But how about making it editable? They didn't say that. And that's the thing we're saying is the problem.
And if we were honest with this, we would actually call it what it is. It is a chemical pathogen device that is actually meant to unleash a chemical pathogen production action within a cell. It is a medical device, not a drug, because it meets the CDRH definition of a device. It is not a living system. It is not a biologic system. It is a physical technology. It happens to just come in the size of a molecular package. So we need to be really clear on making sure we don't fall for their game, because their game is, if we talk about it as a vaccine, then we're going to get into a vaccine conversation. But this is not, by their own admission, a vaccine.
Basically, there's an enzyme that can take that messenger RNA vaccine information and put it into the DNA of the person, into their DNA. And we were told that could not happen. So this is in a lab, but it's showing that you remember the vaccine is messenger RNA.
Yeah.
And we were told that that messenger RNA could not go into your DNA, but this is showing that in a lab it can.
So they introduced into your body a software that can be connected to their computers, and they can control your mind. And not only control your mind, they can lead to your death.
The mRNA vaccine was created with the plan to reduce the world's population.
In 2016, the X-Files reboot told us about the plans that the Khazarian Mafia cabal had to inject us all with mRNA, which would remove the God strand of our DNA and cause our immune system to completely disappear in order to murder us all.
Everybody in the scientific community knew that the mRNA injection, as designed by Moderna and BioNTech, everyone knew that this was going to be cardiotoxic, and everyone knew it was going to be oncogenic. Everybody knew that. The data was all there, which means any decision to use it was a decision to kill humanity.
Who is the most guilty party? If you were to pick one person and say, we can point unequivocally at this person, there's no reason why this person shouldn't be in custody right now, who would that person be?
Well, there's no question that Anthony Fauci is at the front of the line because he's maintained this criminal conspiracy since 1984. He is the architect of the design of the plan. He did not commission the blueprint, but he is the architect. And when the house falls, the house should fall directly on him.
When he came into office, about 6% of Americans had chronic disease. And by chronic disease, I mean not only obesity, but neurological diseases, allergic diseases, and autoimmune diseases, 6%. And by 1986, he came in 68. By 1986, 11.8% of Americans had chronic disease, of children had chronic disease. And by 2006, that number had risen to 64%. So that's his track record. And then the question is, have the vaccine schedule during that period went from the 3 vaccines that I took when I was a kid and I was fully compliant to 72 doses that are mandated today of 16 vaccines. And the question is, has that made Americans healthier?
It's a 35 million dead from the shots.
I'll say publicly now, I wish to apologise for any harm I've done. Any people who've incurred harm in any way from my actions as a partner and a manager in a vaccine centre. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I wanted to get out of it, but I found myself in a position I couldn't get out of it. I tried to change it from the inside, and when I realised I couldn't change it, I walked away. But I knew in December 2020, because I participated in lots of national meetings, all the big national people who were briefing us, and the reason I voted no, Ahmed, was I knew this was emergency use authorised. I knew it was a product with no clinical trial evidence, and a lot of the animal testing studies had not been done. I knew it was a product where we didn't know what the ingredients were. I knew it was using an experimental platform of lipid nanoparticles, and it was supposedly going to change people's DNA in order that they express the most toxic part of this novel virus. And as a pharmacist, as a clinician, the logic of using that as a therapy made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. So I said, we're going to have a whole mountain of autoimmune diseases.
These vaccines were never designed to prevent infection. They were never designed to cure infections. They were never designed to stop the spread of infections. These 3 things promised by the inventors were all lies.
So the idea is to get into the human genome, and it's all about fulfilling Klaus Schwab's dream of creating a new superhuman. From Rudolf Steiner, 1917, when these vaccines were just coming out, Rudolf Steiner could tell where they were going. Listen to his words. Listen to what he said. Quote, I have told you that the spirits of darkness, and at the time of writing, he was not a Christian. But you see, there's some things that get to certain people, and they themselves can understand that this is devilish. You know? They can understand that this is devilish. Here, listen to what he says. I have told you that the spirits of darkness are going to inspire their human hosts. That means those in whom they live. Okay? Those in whom they dwell. The spirits of darkness are going to inspire their human hosts, in whom they will be dwelling to find a vaccine that will drive all inclination towards spirituality out of people's souls. This is the idea. How could a man from 1917 have known this? And these guys don't understand it because these things were debated and discussed in those covens.
And we're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. Genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. So, yeah, I think maybe we should have a safety system where we, do trials and test things out.
Former National Institute of Health boss Dr. Anthony Fauci was caught telling his inner circle that mRNA vaccinations would help reduce the global population of children, according to insiders who reveal that children are front and center in the elite's plan for total global domination.
So from the beginning, this was the idea. That's why I told you, it's the same organizations that have been involved in eugenics that are still there today. They've passed it to their children and their grandchildren and so on, but the organizations are still there.
As taught by the man of God, Pastor Chris, the mRNA vaccine which comes with a biochip is a preparation to the introduction of the mark of the beast. It provides for you a certificate that makes you earth-worthy. In some societies, citizens are expected to have right standing in the eyes of the law, meaning you have to conform to all the legal requirements in the society.
They're constantly monitored by facial recognition cameras that are able to instantly put a face to a name. Now the Chinese are also ranked, given a mark out of a possible 950 points. A score in the 700s is considered good, around the 500 mark is not.
And so if you have passed the test, if you have passed that boundary level, then you are someone of some character that is acceptable by this elite of that society. And this is going to be further weaponized through the vaccines. Make no mistakes about it. I'm talking about the mRNA vaccines, where the biochip will be implanted in a human person, and through that he can be not only surveilled but controlled. So they can know everywhere you are and everything you're doing and keep the data on you. The worst part of it is where you can actually be controlled. Like when the mark of the beast is now given to those who will receive it, they will have good standing. It'll be the certificate of good standing. If you don't understand it, they already said so, that people have to be given digital certificates. So they will have good standing in their health, good standing in their jobs, good standing in the society. This is what it's all about. And they are not hiding this. This is what the vaccines are supposed to help you do. So they're telling you that they're not only trying to treat you against disease, they want to make sure you have a digital certificate that is implanted in your body. Because the Bible tells us anybody who will not accept that mark, they will cause that person to be killed. So it's going to be death or take the mark.
Several virologists, scientists, and doctors of the highest level have warned governments against these mRNA vaccines, exposing the danger they pose to human health. Yet, not many have listened. Instead, they have been censored, threatened, cancelled on social media and had their reputations damaged.
Did vaccines have anything to do with the decline in mortalities from infectious diseases, with this momentous decline, about a 70 or 80% decline in mortality from infectious diseases between 1900 and the present? And the question is, did vaccines have anything to do with that? And the CDC study found that the vaccines had almost nothing to do with it. Instead of physicians and scientists who were responsible for that reduction, it had been engineers. It was greater sanitation, the roads that brought food like oranges and citrus to northern cities, better nutrition, better sewage treatment plant, and chlorination of water, and a number of other kind of engineering advances that were really responsible for the decline in deaths and mortalities from infectious disease.
No research ever told you that the vaccine will be better than your natural immunity, especially this mRNA vaccine, especially this one.
There is a long-drawn war between vaccine ambassadors and those against the negative effects of vaccines who have been tagged anti-vaxxers. This war continues to this day. Make no mistake about it, Satan has his clear-cut plans. If we let him, he will destroy many lives. We have been given the greatest name, Jesus, and with that name, we nullify the machinations of the wicked one. These are not ordinary days, these are the days spoken of by the prophets of old, and we are witnessing the fulfillment of these prophecies before our eyes. It behooves us to be studious students of the word to avoid falling prey to the deception in the world. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. 2 Timothy 2 verse 15.